I never thought my wedding day would be preceded by such drama. Then again, I never thought my future sister-in-law harbored such deep resentment toward me either. It was 3 days before the ceremony when the letter arrived. No return address, just my name written in a handwriting I vaguely recognized. Inside was 3 pages of single-spaced vitriol that made my stomach drop. Dear Claire, it began with deceptive pleasantness. By the time you read this, my brother will be days away from making the biggest mistake of his life. I had to sit down, my hands trembling as I continued reading. Melanie had always been cold toward me, but this went beyond anything I could have imagined. She methodically listed every perceived flaw in my character. My laugh was too loud. I dominated conversations. I was obviously marrying James for his family money. I was manipulative and had changed her brother into someone she no longer recognized. The letter crescendoed with a devastating line. Our mother would be ashamed to see who James has chosen to spend his life with. Their mother had passed away just 2 years earlier after a long battle with cancer. James had been devastated, and Melanie had seemingly never processed her grief. Instead, she'd grown increasingly protective of what remained of their family unit, with me as the clear interloper. I sat in our apartment, letter in hand, tears streaming down my face, wondering what to do. James was out with his groomsmen for final tux fittings. My first instinct was to call him immediately, but then I hesitated. This was exactly the kind of drama Melanie wanted, to disrupt our wedding preparations, to cause a family rift right before our special day. My second instinct was to call my maid of honor, Tasha. But even as I reached for my phone, I stopped myself. If I told anyone, this would become real. It would spread, become gossip, taint everything. So I did something I'm still not sure was right. I folded the letter, placed it in my desk drawer, and decided to say nothing. At least not until after the wedding. James came home that evening, excited about how sharp everyone looked in their tuxes. I forced a smile and pretended everything was fine. But that night, I barely slept, Melanie's words echoing through my mind. The following morning, I bumped into her at the florist's while making final arrangements for the centerpieces. She smiled at me, a cold, empty gesture that never reached her eyes. Ready for the big day? She asked sweetly, as if she hadn't just sent a 3-page character assassination. I looked at her, this woman who might soon be standing beside me in family photos for decades to come, and felt a chill. Did James suspect how his sister felt about me? Was I making a mistake by keeping silent? Can't wait, I replied, matching her fake smile with one of my own. The rehearsal dinner was the next evening, and I felt like I was sleepwalking through it. Every time Melanie's gaze landed on me, I could feel the weight of her contempt. She played her part perfectly, though, the devoted sister, raising a champagne flute to toast, the woman who makes my brother happier than I've ever seen him. The gathered family and friends awed at her seemingly heartfelt words, while I struggled not to choke on my drink. James squeezed my hand under the table, leaning in to whisper, "See? I told you she'd come around." If only he knew. But how could I tell him now? How could I risk turning what should be the happiest weekend of our lives into a family civil war? I'd waited too long. Saying something now would only make me look manipulative, exactly as Melanie had described me in her letter. Later that night, as we parted ways, James was staying at his best friend's apartment for our last night apart before becoming husband and wife. My future father-in-law pulled me aside. "Claire," Richard said, his voice gruff but kind, "I just wanted you to know how happy I am that James found you. After we lost Margaret, well, this family needed some light again." Tears pricked at my eyes. "Thank you, Richard. That means everything to me. And don't worry too much about Melanie," he added, lowering his voice. "She's always had a hard time with change. Margaret used to say that girl would resist the sunrise if she could." I froze. Did he know something? Had Melanie said something to him? "What do you mean?" I asked carefully. "Just that she's been a bit prickly. Margaret would have set her straight, but I've never been good at handling her moods." He patted my arm. "She'll adjust. You're family now." Family. The word both warmed and chilled me. Back in our apartment, alone on my last night as a single woman, I retrieved the letter from my desk drawer. Reading it again only confirmed what I already knew. Melanie wanted me gone. What I couldn't figure out was why. We'd never been close, but this level of hatred seemed disproportionate. I grabbed my phone and pulled up photos from the past 2 years. There was Melanie at Christmas, her smile tight as James and I announced our engagement. There she was at her birthday dinner, carefully seated across the table from me. In every picture, if you knew what to look for, you could see it. The subtle distance she maintained, the way her eyes hardened when they landed on me. How'd I miss this? My phone buzzed with a text from James. "Last night sleeping without you. Can't wait to see you at the altar. I love you." Such simple words, but they steadied me. Whatever Melanie's issues were, they weren't about my relationship with James. We were solid. We were real. Tomorrow, I would become his wife. And somehow, I would have to figure out how to navigate this family minefield for the rest of our lives. As I finally drifted off to sleep, I made a decision. The letter would remain my secret for now, but after the honeymoon, James and I would need to have a serious conversation about his sister. I couldn't spend my married life walking on eggshells. I just hoped our new marriage would be strong enough to weather whatever storm was coming. My wedding day dawned bright and clear. Despite everything, a sense of calm settled over me as my bridesmaids helped me into my dress, arranged my hair, and dabbed concealer under my eyes to hide the evidence of restless nights. "You look stunning," Tasha whispered, adjusting my veil. "James is going to lose his mind when he sees you." I smiled, genuine happiness pushing through the cloud of anxiety that had followed me since receiving Melanie's letter. Today was about James and me, not his sister's issues. Then there was a soft knock at the door of the bridal suite. "Claire, can I come in?" Melanie's voice. My heart jumped to my throat. Tasha looked at me questioningly. I nodded, and she let Melanie in before tactfully herding the other bridesmaids out, leaving us alone. Melanie looked impeccable in her bridesmaid dress, her dark hair swept into an elegant updo. For a long moment, she just stared at me, and I stared back, wondering if she was about to cause a scene on my wedding day. "I know you got my letter," she finally said. I didn't bother denying it. "Yes." "You didn't tell James?" "No." She crossed her arms. "Why not?" "Because today isn't about you or your feelings about me," I said, surprised by the steadiness in my voice. "It's about James and me and our commitment to each other." "So you're just going to pretend it never happened?" A hint of incredulity colored her tone. "No, but I'm not letting it ruin today." I took a deep breath. "Melanie, I don't know why you hate me so much. I've tried to be kind to you, to respect your place in James's life. But nothing I do seems to be enough." "You don't understand," she said, suddenly looking younger, vulnerable. "When Mom died, it was just Dad, James, and me. We were holding it together, barely. Then you came along, and suddenly James had someone else. He didn't need us, didn't need me, the same way anymore." Understanding dawned, sharp and clear. "You're not angry because you think I'm taking him away. You're angry because you feel left behind." Tears welled in her eyes, confirming my words. "He was my brother first. And he still is," I said gently. "Melanie, I'm not replacing you. I'm just joining the team." She wiped at her eyes. "I shouldn't have sent that letter. I was angry and scared, and I don't actually think those things about you. Not really." It wasn't quite an apology, but it was something. A beginning, maybe. "After the honeymoon, we should talk, really talk," I suggested. "But right now, I have to marry your brother, and you need to fix your makeup." A small, reluctant smile tugged at her lips. "You're not going to tell him?" "Eventually, we'll have to discuss it. But not today. Today is for happiness." She nodded, then reached into her purse. "I brought you something. Mom's bracelet. She would have wanted you to wear it." She extended a delicate silver chain with a small pearl charm. "For your something borrowed." As she fastened it around my wrist, I felt a shift between us. Not friendship, not yet, but potential. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but maybe it wouldn't be as hard as I'd feared. An hour later, as I walked down the aisle toward James, his face lighting up at the sight of me, I caught Melanie's eye from her place in the front row. She gave me a small nod, and I returned it. Family was complicated. But as I reached James and took his hands in mine, I knew that whatever came next, we would face it together.